super excited today to be doing another podcast. And today I have Joey Huneau from Synergee Fitness here. And I'm really pumped to have you here. We've got some history. You and I have known you for a long time. I know your family. And when I was thinking about bringing somebody on as a guest that could really talk about success with e-commerce, the first thing I thought about was you. Because you have just, I don't even think people realize how much you've done in that e-commerce space. Yep. So I just want to introduce to everybody Joey Huneau, and I don't know if your title really matters, owner of Synergee Fitness. Yeah. Really excited to have you, and really want to talk today about your success and how you got there, and anything and everything that you can share with our listeners today. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I can give you a little bit about our company. So basically, in the simplest terms, we're the leading online retailer of home fitness equipment. We're a direct-to-consumer brand, and we focus in North America, Europe, and the United Kingdom. Our primary focus has been selling on marketplaces such as Amazon. However, over the past few years, we're starting to build out our own website through the Shopify platform.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
You
go next. That's basically the company in a nutshell.
Yeah. So now you sell all over the world, right? Like
Correct,
you started out. Well, tell me a little bit about sort of that startup,
sure,
and how you've grown to sell like all over, and then we'll dive in a little bit deeper into where your market is and where you're selling.
Sure. Yeah. So the funny part of the story is basically it began. I was working for my mother who owns a gym, and one day, two ladies came up and asked if they could buy Bosu balls. And at the time, we hadn't unpacked all of the equipment from my mother's gym. So I didn't even know the price of them, but I had mentioned to them, okay, they're $150 each. And both ladies ended up paying me $150 cash. And at that time, I think my mom and I were paying each other $300 every 2 weeks, or $600 every 2 weeks.
The typical startup.
Yeah. So
right,
I was blown away that I had $300 cash, and then I had the idea to start selling equipment.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so quickly I realized that obviously selling in Thunder Bay is pretty limited due to the population. So I decided to start selling on eBay, and I wasn't buying the equipment and storing it. I was basically putting ads on eBay, and then when I got a sale, I would then go purchase the product from a vendor I've already had it set up with, then ship out the item.
So no inventory, which is great.
Yeah. So they call that drop shipping.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't really exist anymore because it's so competitive because you're paying shipping on every single item you ship. However, that's kind of how I got started, and basically over 3 years I did that. So I contacted Reebok, Nike, Bosu, Liebert Fitness, all these fitness brands, and set up accounts where I could go buy on their website and put in my customer's ship to address, and I made all these listings. So 3 years went by, and obviously the margins weren't the greatest, but I had managed to save $75,000.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Profit. Yeah,
that's amazing.
And then I started deciding, okay, I should buy it in bulk, and then I'll have the discounts. So I did some research and figured out that the best way to do this, because I didn't want to ship out of Thunder Bay, was to use Amazon. So Amazon has fulfillment by Amazon. And so we started buying in bulk. Primarily one of our bigger brands that we sold for was called Liebert Fitness. And we brought them on Amazon, and we did really well with them. And we had a pretty good relationship with them for about 5 years. And then they decided to take over on their own. So that's kind of like the point where our company changed, because for 5 years we had guaranteed income, but it was reliant on them supplying us the goods.
And that was all income coming from searches on Amazon primarily?
Correct,
okay.
yeah.
So nothing, other digital marketing, nothing like that, just sales on Amazon.
Just sales on Amazon. So we were selling on eBay, but we were storing it in Amazon. Every time we got a sale, it would ship from Amazon to the customer, but like say the customer from eBay wouldn't know that.
Right,
right. And please keep in mind, this is like 2014, 2015. Like, I know nobody shops on eBay anymore, but that's the way it was back in the day.
Yeah, we all know what happened to eBay.
Yeah.
They
didn't evolve with the times. So when that got taken away from me, that was like 70% of our income. So then I started thinking, well, why am I doing all this work selling other people's brands and getting a small percentage when they're making the margins? So I decided then I would look on Alibaba, find some distributors, and start making my own line. So I booked a one-way ticket overseas to China, spent some time down there, like fast forwarding a little, but met multiple suppliers, and I picked one, and the one that I picked we're still using to this day.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
creating that long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And developing that, which is, I mean, just so, I think that's so challenging for some, but it just, when you talk about it, you're like, just went to China and, set up this relation. Like, you make it sound relatively simple, but I mean, I feel like that's just, your personality, right? There must have been some challenges, and we'll talk about them.
Definitely challenges. Yeah, I'm just skimming through very quickly.
For sure.
Like, because we've been in business 11 years now, so
yeah.
if I was to talk,
it
would take forever.
It's a journey.
But so and like I said, that relationship's great. We've gone for dinners, lunch, breakfast with the owner's family, his daughters, his wife. It's just a really good relationship, and it kind of sucks what happened with COVID, that we can't get that FaceTime anymore.
Yeah.
So hopefully soon we'll be able to go back and bond again.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure every time you do go meet face to face, you come up with new ideas.
Definitely.
It's better than the virtual. Yeah, for sure.
And there's just a tighter relationship than virtual.
Yeah.
Right. So
I agree.
If something comes up where I need assistance, he's willing to help me, and if he needs assistance, it's back and forth, because we have that like personal connection.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah, so that's basically when things changed. That's when we started our own line, and we started with 2 products, and fast forward, to 2022, we have about 700 SKUs now.
Wow, that's just, it's just, when I hear you talk, I think about, because I work with a lot of e-commerce companies, and some of them are startups, and some of them are scale-ups, and some of them have been around for a long time. And there's so many challenges. And I think that when I found out, just how well you were doing and how well your company was doing, I was like, wow, because overcoming some of those challenges is just unbelievable. And I see a lot of companies that just don't make the right decisions. And it sounds like you were faced with sort of like forks in the road as you went along, and it was like, do we go left, do we go right? And you seem to always make, pretty much that right choice for which way the company was, that. And I think that's intuitive of you, because some companies can't do that, right? But it sounds like you were making these great choices as you moved along the path.
Definitely.
So now tell me a little bit then. So now you have this great supplier, you have all your own products, you're obviously growing your brand, growing your products, and still exclusively selling on Amazon at that point, correct?
Yeah. So,
okay, and then,
basically since you talk to many business owners, we kind of did it backwards.
I think so too.
Yeah, we didn't have a brand, right? But we had sales.
Yes.
Most people get the brand, then they get sales. But on Amazon, you don't really need the brand. People are going there to buy the product. So if you're distributing the product they want and it's in front of their face, they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
So nowadays, we're trying to reverse that. We're trying to build a brand based off the data we have from all the sales we've gathered over the years. So we can kind of do it backwards. We have all the raw data. Now we know who our target market is, and now we can start advertising towards them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now, somewhere along the way, because you and I have sort of touched base a couple of times, because I'm fascinated by digital media. I mean, it's what I do. I'm fascinated. And over the years, we've talked a bit about, there was a time, though, when you went kind of the other direction, which is how most people start, and that was the Facebook, Instagram, Google route of cold sales, trying to bring those customers in. And I know that you did that for a bit, and spent a lot of money on that, and then decided to go back to Amazon. So definitely tell me, because I think it's fascinating how you went kind of started at where most people end up, and then kind of went backwards and then went back again. Yeah.
So Amazon's advertising is different than how Google works and how Facebook's works. So on Amazon, you're bidding on keywords. Yeah. So we just became that became second nature to us. But Google's different. It works the opposite way. So we tried to do it on our own, and we weren't getting a ROAS. So then we hired one of the software companies we were using. They came out with Digital Marketing Managed, and it was new for them too, and it was a poor experience. So we were just seeing a higher return on Amazon. So why spend the money in Google if I was getting a higher return in Amazon? So I think the biggest mistake there was we definitely hired the wrong company. So you really got to do your research on the company you're hiring. And we do have an agency now who runs our Google ads, and we're getting the target ROAS we want. And I had to pivot at that point in time because it was a bad ROAS and Amazon was good. So I put my advertising dollars towards Amazon.
And I find it interesting too, because a lot of our clients will focus on Facebook and Instagram for their cold traffic.
Yep.
And and it used to be that we would do Google ads as well, and Google ads never performed as well as the Facebook and Instagram ads. Like they were always performing better for bringing in the clients at first.
Yeah.
For the cold, and then the retargeting, the warm traffic was a bit different. It was kind of split 50-50.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've been noticing now that shift where Google is getting way better results versus, and again, there's some industries where that's not true, but for online sales. And I think people underestimate how much they should be doing with Google. They get, I think that's almost like an Instagram culture where we're going to sell all our products on Instagram, and everyone's going to see that they're Insta worthy and people are just going to shop now.
Yeah.
But I think that's a bit of a dreamy mentality. And I think if you really want to go hardcore, you've really got to look at the Google ad platform and also Amazon.
Yeah.
And
less than 5% of our budget spent on social media.
Exactly. And I don't know why this is, but I get people almost, fighting Amazon as a form or method of getting their products out there. And I think that's because obviously Amazon's taking a percentage of your sales, but you'd be like,
so is everybody else.
That's right.
So if you think you can sell it on your website and pay Facebook to come there, why not just pay Amazon when they already have the traffic and they're buyers ready to buy?
That's right. So now we have, and I think people will be interested in listening to what you have to say that are starting out, right?
Yep.
Startup companies or companies that are just scaling up.
Yep.
What's some advice that you would give a company that's coming out as an e-commerce company just starting to the business to consumer market online? Because I see a lot of them, and I see them really, failing almost not immediately, but in a very short time period, because I think they just don't understand what's involved with scaling an e-commerce company.
Yeah. So first thing I would say is don't go out and blow all your money on a website. First, just get a basic website and see if the product sells. And in my personal opinion, I would go to Amazon first because they have the market, see if it sells there, and then build a website. I've been in business 11 years, and not even 10% of our sales come from our website.
Yeah.
So that should tell you how much volume there is on Amazon. And we're a small business in Thunder Bay, and we can get that type of volume out of Amazon. So another big thing where sometimes we make mistakes too is you need to build in your ACOS in every product you're selling. So a lot of people will look at a product, if we're talking product based, they might go to Alibaba and say, okay, I can get this item for $50 and I can sell it for $100, I can make $50 profit.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can't. You have to advertise it, and your ACOS is probably going to be between 10 and 20%. So knock off $10 or $20. Now you're left with $30. You got to ship it from China to Amazon or whatever fulfillment network. So I think people don't factor in ACOS, and that's when they're not profitable. Because if you're not advertising, you're not going to sell anything.
Oh yeah,
period,
and I think too, if you were to tell like a startup or someone again that's scaling and not putting too much dollar value in, but percentage wise, or even just in the scope of their marketing, like how much are you putting into your marketing? Like are you putting in?
It's
yeah.
a huge effort.
Okay.
So we basically spend anywhere between 20 and 25% of our revenue on marketing every month.
Which is huge, And I think people don't realize that. Like they think, wow, you know what, that is so much, but that's something you have to budget for.
Definitely, yeah.
And how long roughly was it before you were, feeding your family, right? Like it takes,
it takes a long
it
time.
takes years, I'm assuming, before you were.
I would say on year 9,
Wow.
I started to really see success happening.
Yes,
because I had to continually reinvest. So, and you take a smaller paycheck so you can keep your money in the company and just take the bare minimum. Like I said, when I was working for my mother there, it was just pay me what I need. At that time I was like 21. I just needed to pay my car payment, and that was it. And then we could grow the company.
Yeah. But I know now you've got a family and you've got
it's
children.
different now.
So
I would recommend starting before having kids.
Yeah.
I honestly, now that I have 2 young ones, I would. I want to be home at 4:30 to go to the park or whatever it is. Before I could stay at work till 6, 7 o'clock at night, and there was no issues. But now I don't want to do that. Even at 4:30, I'm itching to get home.
Well, and I know how hard you worked, and I find it fascinating that it took 9 years of. We're not talking about 6-7 hour slack days.
Yeah.
We are talking about probably days where it was weekends and nights and all of that. So now I'm kind of shifting forward a bit. Now tell me a little bit about where Synergee Fitness is at now, as far as how many employees do you have helping you out now, and what kind of employees? I know we've talked a bit about your employees, but who are the people that you hired? What kind of job descriptions are there for a company like yours? And I'm curious actually to hear what that support team looks like for you.
Yeah, so, well, there was two of us who started. It's actually my brother-in-law now. He's the CFO and he runs the accounting and our taxes. And it's very important to have someone knowledgeable when you're running your finances, right? Yeah. So I like to have the best possible people in the best job. Instead of having 5 people doing one department, I'd rather have one, pay them 5 times the salary, and get the job done.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
So the most important job in the company, though, I would say is the supply chain. Because everything revolves around our cash flow, which supply chain basically controls. So we hired a gentleman who has a Master of Economics from Guangzhou and a Master of Economics from LU. And he has been with us for 5 years now, and he's running the supply chain. And ever since we brought him in, like, things have drastically changed. Higher cash flows, better working relationships with the factories because he can speak the local language.
For sure, yeah.
So there's no miscommunication. So me and him will have conversations, and he his English is fantastic. So then he can go talk overseas, and there's no miscommunication, period.
Yeah.
So that was a big game changer when we brought him on, because you can't be the best at everything, and I was not good at running the supply chain. So that's why I looked for help, you know?
Oh yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head right there with any business, not just your business. It applies for mine, it applies for every business.
Yep.
And I've said this before, don't do things that you're terrible at.
Yeah, exactly.
I was terrible at accounting. I'm still terrible at accounting. And I hired the best people to do, the management of the finances, like you said.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to dabble in it. It was terrible. And as owners of companies, especially entrepreneurs, we can't be expected to be good at everything. And I think the biggest mistake that we make is trying to continually do things that we're terrible at.
Yeah.
And I do see that happen a lot too. People, instead of hiring someone, they want to do 7 different things. I'll do the marketing, I'll do the accounting, I always joke and say, for accounting, press, Steve for one, and for supply and whatever, it's one guy.
Yeah.
So I think that,
we used to do that.
Yeah,
too.
we used, I used to do that too. I mean, I remember working on Saturdays and it would be like, good afternoon. Oh, hey, purchasing. Yeah, 1 second. Oh, you need to pay a bill. Yeah, I can do that for you, And then,
exactly,
after a while, you're so burnt out. You go, what am I doing?
Yeah. The best thing, actually, I was at, this was with BDC back in the day. I use RBC now, but I was having a meeting, and this was when we're just at the point of hiring people, and we had a meeting. The guy goes, what do you mean, like, you can't? Like, well, I'm like, I just do the emails better, and this. I was doing all the, daily activities, answering customer emails, tracking, whatever. He's like, why can't someone else do that? I'm like, well, I can just do it myself. I can do it quick. He's like, no, get someone doing that, and then you'll focus your time on things that are going to help grow the company.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it just clicked that day, and I hired someone, and and then snowball.
Oh yeah. As soon as you start hiring someone to do the things that you're shitty at, your business changes.
Yeah,
it's like the best thing you can do. And everyone says, oh, I can't afford it. You can't afford not to.
Exactly.
And I always say that. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So now, when you're going overseas and you're, dealing with the suppliers for the first time, there had to have been some challenges.
Oh, yeah,
and I want to hear a couple of stories about
definitely.
what it was like when you were just like you walk up and you're probably pretty green.
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah. So I did bring Lucas with me the first time, and I think he was only maybe 19 at the time. And so we get off the plane and we're looking for the sign, and. We see the sign, it was the company's name, and so then we can't communicate with the taxi guy, so we just start following him, and we get in a car, and 2.5 hours later, we meet the agent that we've been talking with, through email or texting, whatever, and her English was okay, so it was nice to see her. We started feeling a little bit more comfortable once we had her there with us, and even in the restaurant, there's always raw bacon in China. I don't know why they like it raw. So even trying to tell them, can you cook it again? They just didn't understand. So the second time we went, we had John with us. That's the gentleman who runs the supply chain. And it was just a breeze having him there.
Oh, yeah.
Even communications at the factory, our first time down was just, we're trying to negotiate the best we could. And negotiation, I would have to tell the lady Grace who was helping us, and then she'd tell the factory, and they'd be laughing, but I don't know if they're laughing because my ask is too crazy or, so at least when we had John with us, he'd be like, okay, they're laughing for this reason.
Yeah, at least you have somebody who's got your back.
Yeah.
So I guess the big piece of advice is, look at, if you're going and you're actually going to make the trip, bring someone instead of just trying to wing it with somebody who's maybe helping you out.
Definitely, yeah. And then like the second round, I would look in their office, okay, this guy has like Coca-Cola or something, all right? Or this guy I saw had syrup, so I brought maple syrup the next time to try to negotiate.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So
I'm going to jump around a little bit, again, about marketing.
Sure.
So one thing I'm always curious about is, so give me a couple of little pointers that you have that you use for keeping your customers engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've got your customers, we all want these long-term value customers. And the way that I like to keep mine's different than how you do. But I'm just curious, are you using like email funnels with discounts? Are you what does some of that look like for keeping them
on
engaged?
Amazon, you wouldn't be involved in that process. Like Amazon kind of does that for you. For our website, we're using Klaviyo, it's called.
Yeah, we use that,
Yeah, so
it's great. If anybody doesn't use Klaviyo, use Klaviyo. It is the best thing for email funnels out there, and it's so user friendly. And if you're not using it, if you take nothing away from today, take away setting up your Klaviyo email.
Definitely. So that's the main one, and that's pretty much, it does it all in one. So that would be the highly recommended one. Yeah. And then as for Amazon, that's why you're paying Amazon a commission. They're already spent, they know how to do that. They'll do that for you, and that's why you give them 15% on every sale.
Yeah.
And build that in, like you said. If people are wondering how to start up, there's online, it's called Amazon FBA calculator. You can put in everything and it tells you all your fees and what you'll be left with. So it's so easy, you should just go try it,
So I've had people say that setting up with Amazon is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And are you saying that no, once you really get into it, it's not that difficult? Because I have had clients say, we want to set up on Amazon, but we just don't have the time. And I know you can hire people to help you, but
I would say they're lazy, to be honest. Okay. It's basically setting up an online account for anything. You can set up a PayPal account, you can set up an Amazon.
Okay.
But once you get in there, you have to learn it. So,
for sure.
I remember coming home, I'd go to my dad sometimes for supper after work, and he'd always say, your ears red. But it was because I was on the phone all day with Amazon asking questions, like, how's this work? How's that work? But so it's like what you put into it.
I really, one thing I really take away from you, Joey, is I get this real impression that you're just like, fucking just do it, there's no excuses. You want to be successful. Yeah, it's going to be tough. And you don't even seem like the tough times even phase you. You're just like, we've had some failures. We've had some, but you know what? We just keep going and we go and we go and we work and we work. And I think that that's something that some people really don't understand, that you're gonna get knocked down. And
we've made many mistakes, but the wins outweigh the mistakes. So. And
when I talk to you though, I really feel like, you know what? Those losses, you just brush them off. Sometimes they're terrible, right? Sometimes they're probably cost you. There's probably been times where shipments have had to come in.
Yeah, there's some bad times.
Where they're not what you ordered. Yeah. And you can't sell them because or you come up with a product that just doesn't sell.
That's happened too.
Yeah. But I feel like you really just go, well, you know what? We just chalk that up to a learning experience. And I think that's probably one of the key reasons why you've done so well. Yeah. Is because you're resilient, basically.
Thanks,
and that's how I feel. If I had to describe you, I'd say you're definitely, that's the feeling that I get.
Yeah, there's as we're talking, we're not talking about all the mistakes, but there's mistakes every day. And they've cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes, So it's just, as long as those mistakes are outweighed by the positives, it's all good.
So I guess that's kind of a little piece of advice to people is expect to make mistakes and expect to lose money.
Definitely.
It's never, and I mean, it's the same with our business. You can't just plug through not having, loss. Sometimes you look and you go, well, you know what, next time let's just not do that. So I don't have that much time left, but I have a few more things that I really want to know is,
Sure.
So where is Synergee Fitness headed? Where do you see it going in the next 10 years? I'm really curious to know what your plans are. How do you see it growing, international, and how many countries? And I'm curious to see what your thoughts are for growth.
Sure, yeah. So currently we were in Europe and the United Kingdom a few years back. We pulled out just because we didn't have enough products, shipping costs just didn't make sense. So we're back in there now, so that's part of our expansion, and that's going to take a few years to grow. We probably won't make any money there for the first couple of years, but eventually it'll pay off. And we do have a brand new website coming out. We're investing finally after 11 years. we are investing money into our website because we want a brand now. We still will obviously continue to sell on Amazon, but I want to build that brand image now on our site. So that's kind of my focus now is building the brand, and that'll eventually get us organic traffic, which will help out with our margins.
Yeah, and really quickly, I've noticed that again with the organic traffic and the SEO, you want your numbers up. Are you thinking that moving forward, even though you still have to spend money, obviously with Amazon and ads, that's a given.
Yeah.
But looking at increasing that branding, so that search engine optimization, so people just top of the mind will go, oh shoot, you know what? Instead of paying for an ad and finding Synergee Fitness, they're going to be like, oh, let's check Synergee first, right? Yeah, I think that's really smart because
that's what we're shooting for now.
For sure.
Because it's been out there for 10 years, so we should be able to start building on that now.
Yeah, so that people will come straight to your site. And then obviously it's going to be nice if that does happen because you don't have to give out the 15%. That's the beauty of building the brand.
Yeah.
And I do talk to that to people about brand, and sometimes, and I'm going to say it again, you kind of did it backwards, right?
Yeah.
You started to sell without a brand. Most companies build their brand first.
Definitely.
But I think that's just the way that you've just whatever works, and now you're realizing that, you're going to build up that brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Selling anywhere and everywhere, that's sort of like the big picture now. So you're not narrowing down. Is there any place that you don't want to sell? Is there anything that you don't want to get into?
Not at the moment. Like, obviously we need to know the market. So because of Amazon, we know what the market is in the United Kingdom and Europe, and that's why we went back there. So right now I'll focus on countries that Amazon's in so I can use them as a distribution center. And I'm not going to move at an ultra fast pace for countries because you really need to know the market you're going into. Yeah,
that makes total sense. Yeah. Any thoughts of branching out of things that are not fitness related?
I have attempted that, and you know what? It's not. That's a thing where you look at something and you're like, oh, I could launch that and there's good margins, but it might just. I could. It's no. I'm not. I've made some mistakes on that before. So no, we're sticking with fitness. That's our specialty. That's what we know, and we're gonna stick with that.
Okay, I don't want to beat up that. But I'm just because I love when we make mistakes, but I think we learn so much from it. I've done the same thing. I branched into something. I spent about $100,000 on it. It didn't work. And now I'm just looking at it going, you know what, I should. But you always learn something from that.
Not to jump on something that you think, oh, it's hot, everyone's gonna buy it, and then it's not hot anymore.
That I agree. I totally agree with that. So staying with the fitness and not swaying into something else. Okay, exactly. Awesome. I think the only other thing that I really wanted to touch on sort of before I let you go is, we talk, and again, it's about the digital marketing part of it, but we talk about Amazon, we talk about Google, we talk about getting that website done, we talk about branding. Is there anything else that you're looking at, like zero party data, or like, I know Amazon does a lot, but if you're going to go in more on your own and kind of maybe try to have more of your own sales and not have to pay that out, is there anything from a marketing digital perspective that you might be dabbling in right now that you haven't done before that you might want to think about doing since you're going to try to get more of that?
Yeah, so we have hired an agency to do SEO. So SEO to me, I have no idea about it. So we have the company that's doing our Google ads recommended this company to do our SEO, and they're working together on the project. So it was difficult to find knowledgeable people in Thunder Bay, I found, in SEO and in Google ads. So eventually I just decided to outsource it. I've tried hiring in-house, but we haven't had much luck with that.
I think too, for SEO, it's tough to have, like, this is what I'm finding with people that try to do stuff in-house. You have to have an SEO specialist. You have to have a Google specialist. You have to have someone who specializes in, one person can't do all that because the amount of learning that's involved to have to learn any of the platforms or any of that type of work, you'd have to have 6 people. Like,
and before I was kind of like, oh, I want everybody to be in the office working together. It just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work like that because you're not going to be able to get that expertise. Like,
exactly.
Our Google specialist is just Google. And then the ones that work with social digital are just social digital. Like, we've learned that you can't do...
Doesn't cross over.
Sure, when there was only 2 of us, one person was doing Google social design, but, after a while it changes and things like that.
Definitely,
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with you, though. I think the organic search is going to be so important, and people are so focused on whether it's Amazon or ads, but to build up that organic you don't need Amazon. You don't need Google after a while if you can get to be a household name.
Yeah.
And I feel like with
which
the way...
takes a long time.
Which takes a long time.
But yeah, when you get there, then you can reap the rewards.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where you're headed.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah, well, I feel like you're going to do it. I feel like, it's already like such a success story that I feel like you're definitely going to go that way just based on, that I know you and I know how much you worked and grown that company. Okay, they're giving me
No
the...
problem.
Yeah.
Well,
but
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And I think that when people are listening, they're really going to learn a lot. And I mean, I always like chatting because I think it is something where you've worked so hard to build, where you are at this point.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you're welcome.
Thanks
Thanks for coming on.
Anytime.